Standing by. The Terry and Ted podcast is sponsored by Jaguar Land Rover Laval. Get out of the big city and experience a construction zone free test drive. There is such a thing.
Those fingers in my hair.
That sly come hither stare leaves my conscience bare. It's witchcraft, and I got no defense for it. The heat is too intense for it.
Whoa.
What good would common sense for it do? Practicing for karaoke.
There you sound like, what's his
Joe
name?
Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo,
Yeah.
that used to do it on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Terry DeMonte, and that's Ted Bird. And Ted's thinking of doing some...
There's karaoke coming up
night.
at Biggs out in Vaudreuil-Dorion.
And we were so inspired, in case you haven't seen the episode, our episode with Mike Ward. Mike Ward killed it on Radio Canada program. Made people cry singing Hallelujah, his dad's favorite song.
Leonard Cohen's
and
Hallelujah.
And then you told Mike that you were thinking of doing Witchcraft, and what's the other one?
The other one is Cocaine Blues by Johnny Cash. Early one morning while making the rounds, I took a shot of cocaine and I shot my woman down.
I wonder if is this gonna go in the episode description?
I don't know.
Listen to Ted.
Christ. Anyway, those are two songs that I can actually carry the tune not too bad. Not like a professional singer, but not entirely embarrass myself. But it's still, it's hard to get. I mean, it's hard to get up in front of a group of people, and Poseidon knows this, to stand up in front of a group of people and tell jokes can be very intimidating.
It's hard just to stand up in front of people.
Well, that's it, yeah.
You remember how I used to sweat.
Yeah.
I would host a show with Ted Bird, always looked like I'd just been swimming.
Yeah, I think when they do public opinion surveys on people's biggest fears, public speaking always comes out at number one. Mm-hmm. So if you're scared of public speaking, imagine public singing.
I think number two is having someone fart on your head.
That's probably, yeah.
I don't know why I thought of that.
What are you doing up there? Oh, Christ.
We must, before we continue and dive into the episode, it's time to give a big thank you to our title sponsor, our very good friends at Jaguar Land Rover Laval.
Terry and I had dinner this week with Nino and Renato Di Cubelis, the owners of Jaguar Land Rover Laval, and they were telling me, I was talking about how much I loved those old school big-ass Jaguar sedans like the Vanden Plas and the XJs, and they don't exist anymore. Well, they exist, but only the old ones. They don't make those anymore.
Is that the one where the front of the car is 55 feet long?
Something like that, yeah. And I always liked those, but they don't make them anymore. Yeah. The auto industry is moving on, and Jaguar is moving on as well. The only Jaguar sedan now is the XF. And that's a state-of-the-art, I guess, mid-sized sedan. Maybe it's a full-size sedan. I don't know. Technically, you'd have to ask someone at the dealership. What are you laughing at? Because I'm going, I don't know. Well, they make the XF, but of course, they're doing the SUV thing like everybody else, right? And in their case, it's the F-Pace. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. It's full-size. It might be full-size. I don't know. I think you call it what you want, I guess.
Ask them. JaguarLaval.ca, LandRoverLaval.ca. What are you asking me for? Yeah. Now, what I'm trying to say is that Jaguar is evolving as the auto industry evolves. I thought that was a pretty good save right there, but you're still fucking laughing at me.
You know what's happened to me now?
What?
I've gone back to your one-act play.
Listen, Jaguars and Land Rovers are really nice cars, and the Di Cubelis family at Jaguar Laval and Land Rover Laval do a fantastic job in terms of customer service and the customer experience. Go see them if you are in the market for a luxury brand automobile. See the Jaguar and see the Land Rover at Jaguar Land Rover Laval before you make a decision.
We've covered this on earlier podcasts, earlier episodes. The one-act play I'm referring to is an unfortunate stumble by Ted Bird during a little break in the action earlier this week. Ted got into the three-point stance and didn't last long in the three-point stance. And
I was doing my imitation of a football player, which I shouldn't be doing as a man of my advanced years, and it didn't end well. Don't backpedal at 63 years of age.
And if you do, look behind you first to see if there's a door there.
Because I went into the door and asked over tea kettle, but I wasn't hurt.
And I just, I can't help it. I've said this before. It's always, I think, my mom told me I used to watch the Three Stooges when I was a kid and howl with laughter like most guys at the bonking and the pie and the falling down. And maybe that's where it comes from. It's just, it's like I'm on TikTok watching for people to fall down.
Yeah, well, the Three Stooges were very slapstick.
Yeah.
But interestingly, whenever you mention Three Stooges, the first thing that comes to mind for me is a line that they had, because some of the writing was pretty good too. Yeah. They were getting ready to go fishing one day, and Mo said to Larry, "You got worms?" And Larry said, "Yeah, but I'm going anyway."
That and the haircut.
Mo's haircut? Yeah.
You could have the Mo?
Yeah.
That's
the Mo?
From someone.
That's the Italian guy from Philly. Dom Herrera. Yeah, you can get Mo, Pete Rose, Mo.
How do you like your craft dinner, Ted?
Not so much.
No, you don't eat it at all?
No.
I go back to it every once in a while.
You do, eh?
Yeah,
no, I don't dislike it. I can take it or leave it.
Right.
My ex-wife, Danielle, makes her own mac and cheese with ground beef in it that's really good.
That sounds
really
delicious,
good. It's
actually.
Good comfort food.
There's something about, maybe it's the memories of craft dinner, which they're currently fucking with, unfortunately. I don't know.
How do you fuck with craft dinner? Well, it's the simplest thing in the world.
I don't know if you've seen this on social media, and I'm jumping in. I shouldn't be giving Kraft Foods any kind of help. When we were kids, I remember one time a buddy of mine said, "How do you like your craft dinner?" And I thought, "What do you mean? How do I like my craft dinner?" And he said, "Well, do you want it thick or do you want it runny?" My buddy Tim, he was the chef that night. We were 14, I think, and I'd never thought of that because Tim happens to be an amazing cook today, but back then he was, you add more milk and it gets a little runnier. Which way do you like it? You stupid ours. And now they're toying with barbecue flavor. Poutine flavor.
That doesn't work.
And cotton candy is apparently one of them.
Cotton candy craft dinner.
Yeah, and it's on the internet, and they're trying to get
the stupidest thing
engaged.
I've ever heard of.
So we'll just dismiss that. Craft dinner in your house, Poseidon?
Yeah, like that meal when you're kind of lazy to make.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing. On a rainy day,
I'll have it here and there, but it gives me the shits right after.
Okay,
that's not good.
That's an unfortunate turn of events.
Because there's no what do you call? There's no fucking what do you call the fucking word there, bro?
You mean in the dish?
In craft dinner,
yeah.
in mac and cheese,
yeah.
Like the ones that you buy in a box.
Yeah.
There's no actual. I was gonna say not vitamins. There's no
nutrients.
Nutrients. There you go.
Okay.
That's the fucking word I was looking for.
Yeah.
There's no actual nutrients. So
what do they call that? Empty calories.
Yeah, empty calories.
Yeah, it just goes right through me.
Empty calories are often delicious. Do you have a?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite comfort food that comes from home or something that you like? You like to make when you want to feel better, or reminds you of growing up.
Something Greek, maybe?
Something of
like I
don't know, because I was a fat kid and I ate everything. You know, so,
well, me too.
I don't know. I guess pizza.
Yeah. Okay.
Pizza.
And you, Ted, any comfort drawn from any kind of dish from your childhood?
Yep. At lunchtime, we used to have tomato soup. My mother would make Campbell's tomato soup with homogenized milk.
Yes.
And things. She made these things called hot mamas. Ooh. And a hot mama was toasted bread, but toasted in the oven.
Okay.
Toasted in the oven with melted cheese and bacon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you would fold over your hot mama and dip it in your tomato soup.
Wow.
And when the hot mamas were gone, you'd take a big old fistful of Ritz cheese crackers and scrunch them up into the tomato soup eat that.
Wow.
Yeah. That, and I also remember peanut butter and banana sandwiches dipped in tomato soup. Dipped in tomato soup.
No. Really?
That's what everybody says. No, but I loved it.
Really,
loved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your mom listens to the podcast.
She does, yeah. Make me some hot mamas if I come home this summer, would you?
Bacon has become bacon is now like caviar. I don't know if You've bought bacon. Have you
Well,
bought
no,
bacon?
I haven't, and I don't understand because when I go to Costco, I look at the price of steak and I go, for Christ's sake, and I
Yes.
look at the price of fish and I go, Jesus Murphy, and I look at the price of chicken and I go, you too? But then I look at the price of pork chops.
Yes.
Pork chops are still reasonable.
Yeah, but for some reason, I've seen bacon at $13 for a pack. That's insane.
Yeah.
And where were we the other day? And you said to me, when did bacon and eggs become this expensive?
Yeah, bacon and eggs for I forget where we were,
Yeah,
but
me too.
it was $15
Right.
for bacon and eggs, which is what you would expect. You know, to me, that's a room service in a hotel price for bacon and eggs.
Oh, boy.
Then we went to La Roulotte,
Yes.
the hot dog place in Saint Genevieve,
Yep.
and bacon and eggs were $6, and I
Yes.
thought that's more like it. But they're probably taking a hit at $6 because of the price of everything. I went to the grocery store yesterday morning, and blueberries were on sale, 2 pints for $4.98. And I was shoving little old ladies out of the way. Get the fuck out of my way. Those are my blueberries. And then grapes.
That is a great deal.
Yeah, and then grapes were $1.99 a pound or a kilogram
Yeah.
or whatever they are, where they're usually $3.99.
Yeah.
And again, shoving the little old ladies out of the way. That was where I ran into that. I was at the counter, and this happens to Terry and me all the time individually. I'm at the checkout, and the lady behind, and I'm talking to the cashier, and the lady behind me goes, "I know that voice. Aren't you Ted Bird?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I thought you moved out west." And I said, "No, that's Terry DeMonte. He moved out west." And she goes, "Oh," she says, "I could have sworn that you moved out west too. I used to listen to you guys all the time." And I said, "Well, Terry's in town doing the podcast with me. We do a podcast." "Oh, really? Oh, isn't that interesting? Where can I hear that?" And I told her. And we chit-chatted for a little bit, and then she said, "Okay, well, say hi to Ted for me." And I just said, "I will. I'll let him know that you were asking about him."
Yeah, you know where I live out in Blueberry Country.
Oh, you do, eh?
We
You do?
we buy blueberries in the summer directly from the farmers.
Okay.
A, do you think that's any good? And B, you can get a big Jeasley box for $10.
Oh, that's good.
And I know, buying any kind of fruit in the winter, it's surprising now that we don't all die of scurvy.
Yeah,
because
no kidding.
Blueberries for, what did you say you found them for?
I found 2 pints for $4.98.
There you go.
And a pint's a pretty fair-sized little box.
Price, we sound like a couple of
I know.
old ladies,
I know.
talking
yeah,
about
I
prices
know,
in
yeah.
the grocery store.
And then I paid for them with dimes.
Are you at the point where you pick things up and throw them back? Like my mom used to do that all the time. She'd reach for something and look at the price and go, "Are you out of your mind?"
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, shit's getting too expensive,
Well,
man.
when did this happen? Like you and I in the
Post-pandemic, that's when it happened.
No. I get that we're getting.
Oh, when did we become like that?
Yeah, we're getting
I
blown
don't
up
know.
the ass for being a fucking as a National Lampoon used to say now with everything. But, you and I were talking about budgeting today in the car.
Yeah, well, because we have to now. We're not making the money. You're retired.
Yes.
I don't make nearly as much money as I used to. Nope. So we have to be more careful with our pennies now. Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I think most elderly people, I think, are, and I'm not saying we're elderly, but we're older for sure. But people, as they get older, are more careful with their money.
Poseidon?
Yes.
Don't think about it. Give me an age that's old.
70.
70. Okay.
He thought about it.
All right.
He said, "Okay, they're in their 60s. I'll say 70."
I don't want to make these fuckers feel
Actually,
bad.
the reason why I said 70 is because my father is nearing 70, so that's old to me.
Okay.
It was I actually didn't think about it.
Wow, so your dad was no spring chicken when you were born, eh? How old was he when you were born?
He was.
So if he's 70 and you're 28, what's the difference there? Is that
He's
40,
like 67.
42 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was pushing 40 when you were born. Oh, well, you know what? When Allie was born, I was pushing 50.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's 14 and I'm 63. So I was 49 when she was born.
But my father didn't actually start seeming old until a few years ago.
Seeming old to you?
What
Like in general, like
is it, you're talking about looks or movement or like
movement,
mannerisms.
Mannerisms. He's been the same guy. The way he walks, he has a bit of a limp now. He's he isn't what he used to. But up until like a few years ago, he was good.
I remember my brother telling me a story one time when my brother and I both lived in Toronto back in the 80s, and our dad came to town to visit, and Dad would have been early 50s, and Richard went down to the hotel to meet him, and he was sitting in the lobby, and he saw someone coming down the stairway, and he goes, Christ, who's that old geezer? And he goes, oh, it's Dad. And this is when Dad was 10 years younger than I am now.
Had you not seen him in a while?
I guess not. I just like it was out of the corner of his eye, peripheral vision, just at a glance. He went, "Who's that old fellow?" Christ,
it's funny,
it's my
but
father.
you end up getting things that are just a tiny reminder. I'm thank God I'm relatively healthy, and I'm mobile and can still get around. Blah blah blah. Of course, I'm only 64, but 64 when I was 12, if somebody was 64,
they were ancient. Yeah.
Geez, I wonder if he's planned his funeral yet.
Yeah.
We thought it was like the old one foot on a banana peel, one foot in the grave.
Yeah.
But there are some things now, like I can't move my arm in a certain direction right now because I don't even know why. I'm going to have to go to a physiotherapist.
We talked about that on one of the podcasts last season, I think. Yeah, because we were laughing about we were driving up in the car, and out of the blue you went, "Hey, because you'd moved your arm the wrong way." There's a great, and this is a visual, so if you're listening, it probably is not going to work, but maybe you've seen it. There's a great, I think they're called a GIF, GIF. On the interwebs of a guy. There's three guys sitting in a row, and one of them he crosses his legs, but he throws his one leg up over the other leg, and he pulls a muscle. You know which one I'm talking about, don't you? And the look on his face, he's like, "Ah!" It's the funniest thing.
Someone suggested, though, he crushed a testicle.
Oh, that could be too. Well, he did something. But it's really funny to watch. I mean, it's not funny to him, obviously. And I think he looks familiar to me.
Oh, is that right?
And he looks Quebec familiar to me. I don't know who he is, but it's funny. Just his reaction's very funny.
You know what proves men are dumb as fuck?
A lot of stuff.
We have the sensitive testicle area, right?
Yes, sir.
And every time we cross our legs, we risk crushing one of them. And yet we do it every single fucking
you forget.
time.
Yeah, you forget. And I don't want to go into this topic, but I just want to tell you, as you get older, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Because of the angle of the dangle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Go to the YMCA for the seniors swim, and you'll know what he's talking about in the dressing room.
Guy's sweeping the floor. Oh no!
Oh, God damn. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I just got a visual of that.
Yeah, it's very unpleasant.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
What?
we have been so engrossed by our guests, and we've had such great guests this season that the tweets have all piled up. The tweet sheets we don't have enough racetrack left to use all of the tweet sheets, but I want to trot some out here. Can we do that?
Yeah,
and then maybe we'll do a little business.
Let me get my
what do you
glasses
say?
on.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute, I got them on.
The tweet sheet is something that we do on the radio program on Light 106.7, where we find 3 funny tweets and share them. And we do the ones here on the podcast that we can't do on the radio show because you can't say bad words. And there are some pretty funny bad word tweets that show up, that come across my timeline, like this one from @CoolMathGame, the Riddler. Poor people have it, rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it? Batman. I'm going to beat the shit out of you and put you in jail. I don't think that was the correct answer, but that's where Batman was going.
Said Harvard graduate.
From @TrumpetCake. My nephew shit in my hat, which I thought was downright beastly, until someone informed me that I'd been wearing a diaper as a hat. He's very funny, Ted Travelstead.
I love his handle.
Yeah, he's a TV writer. He writes for for a show, animated show on Fox.
That's one of my mom's favorite saying.
Is that right?
Go shit in your hat.
Yeah.
Tell him to go shit in his hat.
From @Merman5, my travel blog day 1. First time in the Big Apple, and I'm ready to take a bite. Day 2. Hey, looks like I'm not the only one walking here. Day 3, after an 11-year-old yelled, "Fuck your mudda" at me. I long for the gentleness of Minnesota.
Sounds good.
There's some funny people on the Twitter.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Oh, we got one more here.
Oh, okay.
From @Stone to Diva. Ask your doctor if you're healthy enough to fuck right off. I would never say that to my doctor.
No.
Dr. Benjamin from the Kildare Medical Clinic in Côte St. Luc. What a fine man he is.
Do you visit the doctor more now?
Not nearly as much as I should.
Why?
Well, because I just don't. I'm lazy, or
you're not one of those. I don't have time for this, guys.
Yeah,
that's a
I know.
That's a terrible.
I went when I had cancer.
Well, that was a good call. Yes, and for people who before you send us an email, Ted actually did battle and won his fight.
I did,
cancer.
yes, and I do routine cancer follow-ups
Yes.
because they stay on top of you for that.
They do.
The oncology department at the Royal Victoria Hospital. They why are you laughing now?
Well, because you have some very funny stories about that particular battle.
Well, it's because it was rectal cancer. So it's
but I'm not referring to the fact that it was rectal cancer. All cancers are scary and it's a terrible thing.
But when it's in your bum,
when it's in your bum, there's a certain kind of piece of equipment they use. There's a lot of falling down.
Yeah.
There's a bit of fainting.
Yeah, well, the first time that Buddy went in there with the camera, I fainted.
Yeah.
Passed straight out. Yeah.
And what did you call him? You called him the general, the
rear admiral.
Yeah, I got to.
That was your joke.
Was
I
it?
thought.
I thought it was yours.
No. I think because you had a colonoscopy before I ever did, and you said that you were going to see the rear admiral.
Yeah. And I don't want to do public service announcements, but there is a fallacy about colonoscopies. People are afraid of them, and you shouldn't be, because as many doctors have explained to me, it's the easiest cancer to prevent. Mm-hmm. And what you have in your mind about what a colonoscopy is, it's not that.
Well, they're still sticking a camera way up your ass.
They are, but they have great drugs.
They do.
And they've done it a lot.
Yeah.
And I've had 2 of them, and both times I said, when do we start? And they said, well, we're done.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I highly recommend.
What's the age where they say you should start? Around 50?
It depends on what doctor you're talking to. Some doctors say 50, and now they're saying if you have a history in your family of colon cancer, you should be going in your 40s.
Okay.
You should have your first one in your 40s.
Well, I'll tell you a story about my first one, and that's where they discovered the cancer. When I came to in the waiting room, and the doctor came in, and he said to me, we found something, but it's treatable, operable, and curable, and we're going to take care of you.
Wow.
And I took him at his word, and I never doubted that they were going to take care of me and I was going to be fine. And I think it's because he planted that seed and gave me a positive outlook. I'll bet you that helped me a lot. If he'd come in and gone, we'll do the best we can for you.
Bedside manner is such an important thing.
Yeah, he was great. Really I wish I remembered his name, but he was terrific. Oh. Yeah.
Let's take a moment here to thank our friends at the UPS store. Mike Ward liked the UPS store. When we were
Didn't he, though? Yeah.
Mike Ward said
he learned about it on this podcast.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
The UPS stores, as Mike pointed out, you see them everywhere, and you may associate them with the trucks, but these guys that are running these UPS stores are entrepreneurs. Maybe like yourself. You run a business at home. You have things that need shipping. You probably already know about the UPS store, but if you don't, you should drop in on the one in your neighborhood, and they're everywhere. There's over 350 stores across the country, and when you walk in there, you know right away what kind of business it is. Boxes, packing tape, fax machines, pens, pencils, envelopes, anything that you need to make your business day go a little bit easier, they can look after. So if you are selling things on Pinterest and you have to ship 20 of them, if you knit oven mitts and you sell them online and you've got to ship them across the country, the UPS store will show you what to do and make your life a lot easier. And even if you don't have a business and you're wondering how you're going to get that stupid teapot that's been hanging around the house for years that you want to send to a family member across the country, they can do that too. The UPSstore.ca.
Which aunt would you send that teapot to?
Let's see. We've gone to Matilda.
We've done Matilda. We've done Griselda and Effie and Gertrude.
Yep. I think probably Roseanne.
There you go. Auntie Roseanne.
Auntie Roseanne.
Yeah. What's happening with Roseanne these days? Is she still canceled, or did she get canceled?
Done.
She is,
Yeah, she's done. I'm not sure.
And is she done because was she stupid? Did she ask for it, or did she?
She tweeted something that was, you go on the Twitter and the Twitter crowd doesn't like it.
Yeah, you take your chances.
Yep, and ABC was quick to act, and I think Roseanne is a very, very wealthy woman from the TV series that she had on in the 80s, which is
is she still going down to the mailbox every day and getting royalty checks for that?
I would think she would be, and she owns a massive piece of property in Hawaii, where she runs, if I'm not mistaken, and I might be, a coffee plantation.
Really?
Yeah, she grows Hawaiian coffee. I think it was coffee. Anyway, she spends all her time in Hawaii, so
she doesn't much care then.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think as a performer, you would care. We had look for our Mike Ward episode if you haven't heard it yet. When we had Mike Ward on the podcast, I asked him about when he was in the middle of his court case with the Human Rights Commission. It obviously took a toll on him. And I think if you're a performer and you get pushed out of work, it can take a toll. So I would imagine, even if she has money and she lives in Hawaii and she looks at the ocean every day, I would imagine every once in a while you wish you could tell a joke. I always think of Johnny Carson, because when Johnny Carson walked away, and I've always loved Johnny Carson and respected Johnny Carson, and Johnny Carson taught me a lot. I didn't know him, but he taught me a lot.
Watching him taught you a lot.
Watching him as a communicator and an interviewer. He walked away and never did anything again, and apparently got all kinds of offers to do stuff, and just didn't want to go back, just didn't want to do it. But he sent jokes to David Letterman all the time, and he couldn't.
Johnny wrote his own jokes?
Yeah.
Okay. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a joke writer.
Carson would wake up every morning for 30 years, and he had all kinds of newspapers on his kitchen table at breakfast. The LA Times, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all the magazines, pre-internet. And he would go through the newspapers, and he would think, I think I might have something for that. I got something for that. We should cover this. He'd get on the phone with the writers, and he would tell the writers, I want, let's target this and target that. And then later on in the day, he would drive to the studio and have writers, and the writers would pitch him jokes, and then he would take the jokes he wanted. So he was part of that. He was part of that machine. And apparently when he retired, he kept the routine of the newspapers at the breakfast table every morning and thought, I got a gag for that. I can't tell it to anybody. And he started to send them to Letterman. And the only TV appearance he made, which you can find online, after he retired from The Tonight Show, and it's hard to explain, but Carson was such a king of late night television for so long. It was a big deal for Letterman especially. The only appearance he made was on Letterman's show one night, and
Letterman was not his successor.
No,
right? Letterman was a different show. Yeah, that's
successor.
What I thought. Yeah, it was Jay. Was it Jay Leno?
Yeah, it was Jay Leno, and there's a great book about that by Bill Carter, I think called Late Night, all about the wars to replace Carson. And Carson and Letterman were friends, and this always stuck with me. When Letterman was fighting with Jay Leno to try and get the Tonight Show, he was on the phone with Johnny asking advice. And Johnny said to him, it's not the Tonight Show anymore. It's a different, what you will be getting won't be the Tonight Show. It's a different kettle of fish. Anyway, when Letterman would get the odd joke from Carson, and he wouldn't tell anybody, and he would put it in his monologue. And when Johnny passed away, I was watching Letterman that night live because I was very sad about Carson's passing, and I knew Letterman was a big fan, and I wanted to see what kind of tribute he would do. And Letterman came on and started to do a monologue and wasn't mentioning it. And Letterman gave this amazing speech. He was the first talk show host to go back after 9/11.
I remember that.
And he ad-libbed this unbelievable speech, which I think, it was the green light for people to go back. And
it helped with healing.
It helped with healing is a great way to describe it, Ted. So I couldn't understand why he wasn't saying anything about his idol passing away. And he finished the monologue and he paused and he said, and all these jokes that I told tonight were written by the late, great Johnny Carson. And I get goosebumps thinking about it because I remember watching the monologue, and it had this rhythm that I thought was very familiar, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And it was all Carson stuff, and that was the way he paid tribute.
Do you stay up and watch the late night shows now, or are you too old and you fall asleep?
No. I can stay up late and watch them if I want. We because my wife gets up fairly early for work. We're usually not up that late. But I'm a massive fan of Jimmy Kimmel's.
I was going to ask you, who do you like?
Kimmel.
How many of them are there now?
There's Kimmel. There's Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, James Corden, who's about to retire. Not retire, but he's quitting that show. Seth Meyers, who does the Late Late Show. And am I missing anybody beside him? No.
For which?
Late night TV hosts?
Yeah.
Do you watch?
You don't watch?
I have never watched any late night.
I tape Kimmel every night, and I always watch Kimmel. Kimmel was a massive Letterman fan.
Okay.
Massive Letterman fan. He got there's pictures of him for his 14th birthday. He got a Letterman jacket. And when he first got his license, he got a license that said late night, I think, when he was a kid in Las Vegas. And Jimmy comes from radio. So I have a big appreciation for that.
Do you know how long he was in radio and what he did?
Yeah, he was a sports guy. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure how many years, but I think he put his time in. I think he was in radio, 8 to 10 years. And then he did something called The Man Show. As cable began to expand, he did The Man Show, and then got recruited.
That's how he became known?
Yeah.
That's how he got his break?
Yeah, I think so. And ABC recruited him to do the late night. And believe it or not, he's been in that position for 20 years now.
Really?
Yeah, he's been doing
And what's
that
his
for
show?
20 years.
It's the Jimmy Kimmel Show, I guess.
Night with Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay,
Yeah.
and did he replace Letterman? Is that Letterman's old show?
No, that's the ABC slot that was created for him because when he started, he went on at 12:30, and he did so well that they moved him to 11:30 because ABC used to be the home of Nightline. They didn't have
That's right, yeah.
Nightline tried to go up against Carson for all of those years.
And what do you like about Jimmy Kimmel?
His authenticity. Mm-hmm. He's just himself. He seems like a very kind man, and he's not afraid to laugh at himself. He's got a great bunch of writers, and I like his humor, and I like his approach. He's done a couple of very, very powerful personal speeches where he's burst into tears a couple of times. One of them's the gun issue. And he had a very sick child who had heart issues.
Oh, I remember that.
And he gave a couple of really, really impassioned speeches. He's just strikes me as a very, very nice, real person. And I think that comes across on television, so I really enjoy that.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Jimmy Fallon fan. I understand that. I know he's funny, and he was great on Saturday Night Live. He's
a terrible talk show host.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It doesn't seem like he doesn't seem to be cut out for that role. Like that you would talk about authenticity and being genuine. Like he's a performer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought he was miscast, but I'm doing a podcast and he works for NBC.
There you go.
So
yeah.
What the hell do I know? How do we get on that? That was quite a long and winding road.
Yeah. I enjoyed it though.
Shall we sing some more?
No, sir, not a bit.
No, sir,
I'm
not
saving
a bit.
myself for karaoke.
All right. We want to say good. I was going to say we want to say good morning to. That's an old habit.
Yeah.
That dies hard.
Well, you do a morning show for 35 years, and that'll happen.
Yep. My friends at Matlab matlabonner.ca, they gave us a promo code. Ted said, you're doing a podcast. when you get a promo code. The promo code is TER05, TER05, TED05, TED05.
That's me.
5% off no matter what you buy. And when you're in a Matlab on our store, you can look at their linens. They have their own line of linens. Beautiful stuff. Pillows, all kinds of different pillows now. There's pillow technology. Mattresses, the mattresses. Some of them go up, some of them go down, some of them got bamboo in them, some of them are, old standard not old standard mattresses, but, your classics.
Yeah.
Your Sealy's and your Simmons and stuff that have been around for a long, long time. Plus new companies. They love to deal with Canadian suppliers if they can, and specifically Quebec suppliers, because they're a Quebec-owned company run by a Quebec family that started small and have grown Matlab Bonheur into a chain of stores, 18 of them, where you will get treated well, and they will help you get a better night's sleep. That's what they do. Remember, the promo code is TER05, TED05. No matter what you buy, whether it's regular price or on sale, in-store or online at matlabonheur.ca.
I booked a trip the other day.
Did you now?
I booked a trip to Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm going to Jacksonville.
It's a different place, Terry. You're thinking of Johnny. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson.
I'm going to Jackson.
Here I come, Jackson. I wonder if it must be Jackson, Wyoming. Although there's probably a Jackson in every friggin' state in the Union, eh? Anyway, Sam Bird and I are going to Jacksonville in October to see the New York Giants play the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's easier to go see the Giants on the road. It's hard to get a ticket at Giants Stadium.
Is it?
Well, yeah, and also October in New York, you don't know what you're going to get. You might get a beautiful fall day, or you might get a cold, cold rain. And in Jacksonville, you're guaranteed to get a hurricane. I didn't think that all the way through. I think that's hurricane season in Florida, yeah.
In October?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think hurricane season is generally in the fall, if I'm not mistaken. Bless you. Oh, I thought you were going to sneeze.
I think starts in September, ends around beginning of November.
Well, there you go. I'm going to be right in the middle of it, right smack dab in the middle of it. And I believe Jacksonville is on the Atlantic coast. Mm-hmm. So what the hell was I thinking?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I thought we got a pretty good deal considering the price of everything these days. I went on Expedia and I got, bless you, airfare and 2 nights hotel in downtown Jacksonville. Not at anything swanky. It's the Hampton Inn. But $845 Canadian each. I don't think that's too bad these days, is it?
No. You got an amazing deal.
Yeah.
I was having dinner last night with my buddy Kevin, who was in town, and we're old high school friends, and we happened to be in Montreal at the same time. We had a nice dinner, and we were talking about Kevin travels a lot, and we were talking about the ridiculousness of the cost of travel, especially this particular summer. And I told you the story of where we live now. We're probably a 15-minute drive from the American border in the Fraser Valley. So we can be in Washington State literally in 20 minutes if there's no lineup at the border. And we're a 2-hour drive to Seattle. Seattle's a big city. Yeah. Seattle's the home of the Mariners. It's the home of the Seahawks. And most concerts go to Seattle. And we went to see Paul McCartney in Seattle, and we stayed at a hotel. We were trying to save money, and it wasn't very good. So my wife and I wanted to go see Sugar Sammy in Seattle. And we said, it's only going to be a night, so we're going to book a nice hotel room at a nice hotel. And we called, and we booked a hotel room for about $500 a night.
Jesus, Murphy.
Now, that's a lot of money, but we thought, my wife is working. We're just going to be the one night. We'll make it a special time.
And you're driving, so you don't have to pay
your
Mind you, gas to Seattle and
true,
back will run
we
you.
can buy
That's going to run you.
Yeah. And then we got the COVID, and we couldn't travel. So I phoned the hotel, and my wife just said to me, let's go see the Mariners. Let's pick a weekend in July, and we'll go see the Mariners. And I called the hotel, and I said, explain the deal. I said, look, can't come this weekend, very sorry. But rather than just give me my money back, let's just move the reservation into July. My wife and I would like to come and see the Mariners. And she said, no problem, sir. We can do that for you. However, the rate will be $1,100 a night.
For Christ's sake.
Now, $1,100 a night.
For a hotel room.
For a hotel room, which is basically a box with a shower, a bed, and a shitter.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't describe the room we were going to rent. The towels are a little fluffier. The lobby's a little nicer. And I get it. They're trying to recoup their COVID losses. Tabarnak. Come on.
Yeah.
For a 370 square foot room.
So a standard size hotel
it's just
room?
a regular room.
Yeah.
So we said, thanks, no, just send us our money back. So my point being to you, if you got all the way down with airfare and everything, I think
Yeah,
I mean,
for $845, yeah.
deal.
And breakfast is included too at the Hampton Inn.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's probably a continental breakfast. It's nothing fancy. The room will be nothing fancy. Listen, as long as il y a aucun bibit, that's all I ask. No bibits, please.
Lay that on at the counter in Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville. I beg your pardon, sir.
No, sir. What's the nicest hotel room you ever stayed in?
Probably in Biarritz, France, on my honeymoon with my first wife, Terry. We went to the Palais Royal in Biarritz, France.
Oh.
And
I don't know it at all. It just sounds fancy.
yeah. And this was in 1987. And I believe we paid the equivalent of $370
In
in 1987. And so we were like, holy shit, $370. But it was spectacular. It was absolutely beautiful. You know what might have been nicer, though, now that I think of it, was the time that we went to Chicago on one of the Showm trips to the Blues Festival, and they put Randy Renault and me in the Bill Cosby suite.
Wow.
That was a spectacular
All
room.
of our trips to Chicago were courtesy of my good friend Doug Moore,
At the Drake Hotel.
who I know listens to the podcast. Doug, I love you dearly. Because, boy, did we have some nights in some special hotel rooms, or we were in some special hotel rooms in a legendary hotel.
The Drake is the Grand Dam.
It really is.
Of Chicago
and my buddy
hotels.
Doug Moore was the assistant general manager, and he would say, give me a couple of days and I'll find you something that was open. And we paid a small fee. I think we paid like $23 or something for these.
Like the taxes, maybe,
massive
or something.
suites.
Yeah.
The hotel rooms we had at Banff Springs were pretty nice.
Those were
When
also very
you
nice.
and the boys and Danielle came out. Those were very nice.
Was
and by the way, none of these are advertisers. Although, if you do run a hotel chain, I'm looking for.
if you run a hotel chain in Montreal and you got a place Terry can stay when he comes in to record the podcast, let him stay there and we'll talk about your hotel.
To say accommodations provided by the Hofnebef.
That's right. Yeah. And if you happen to be involved with an airline as well, Terry DeMonte's travel arrangements furnished by Air Transat or what's the one out west? Jet Go. You go now. WestJet.
You go now Airlines. Remember those days? You'd see that on television all the time. Accommodations provided by the Hilton Hotel in beautiful downtown.
Often on the game shows, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And airfare provided by Delta. Yeah.
Well, because they would provide the prizes. They would furnish the prizes, like for the Price is Right showcase.
That's
whatever.
right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And if you're of a certain age, remember Chicago 60609.
That's right. That
remember
was
that?
who? But what was the company?
That was
the Spiegel Catalog.
The
Spiegel Catalog. Spiegel of Chicago, Illinois.
Could not have been the announcer.
60609.
And I always wanted to be a game show announcer.
You did, eh?
I did.
The host or the announcer?
The announcer. You know,
like Johnny Olson. Tell him what he's won, Johnny. Yeah.
The 1977 Camaro comes complete with, and one of the big thrills that I got when I retired was they arranged for I'm going to forget his name, the announcer on The Price is Right, Drew Carey's sidekick.
It was Johnny. Oh no, that's okay.
He's
that's
long
after.
gone.
Yeah.
And he stood behind the podium on the set of The Price is Right. And did a Terry DeMonte, come on down.
Oh, really,
yeah,
eh?
It was very cool. Yeah. It's on my Facebook page.
Yeah,
somewhere.
my dad told a funny story about, this is years and years ago. He was home for lunch one day, and he's sitting there in his chair, big chair, doing the crossword puzzle. And The Price is Right is on, and he hears, Robert Bird, and that's his name. Yeah. Robert Bird, come on down. And he looks up, and the big black fella comes running down the thing. Well, that's not me.
No, no, sir, not a bit. We should say thank you to our good friends at the Mersons. I was thinking about the Mersons today because Ted's got a car that's it's doing a lot of Merson things.
Yeah, it needs to go to Merson. It's I drive an 11-year-old car.
Yes.
And things happen to it.
They do.
Right now, the air conditioner is not working so well in the car. And also, there's a rattle coming from underneath somewhere. And apparently, there's some sort of a valve cover leak oil issue.
Yes.
So I'll be heading over to Merson in the very near future. And what I know is that whatever I have to pay to get it fixed will be the fair and proper price. They're not going to take me to the cleaners because that's not what the Mersons do. It's a third-generation family business, and they've lasted as long as they have because they operate with honesty and integrity. They will not sell you anything you don't need. They will not perform a service that you don't need. They will do exactly what you do need for your car. And boy, I hope I don't need too much.
Yeah, I hope not for your sake.
But I'm glad I have a garage that I can trust.
Yeah, you'll know when they tell you. You'll know what they.
I know
they don't have to do. They won't do.
Yeah, they're not full of shit. Merson, that's their new tagline. Merson, we're not full of shit.
I'm sure they're thrilled.
Yeah, and you can take it from me, and you can
Bonnie.
take it from Terry because we've been doing business with them for a long time, for over 25 years. And you should too. If you want a mechanic that you can trust, or car maintenance and repair that you can trust, or you need tires, that's their specialty, but they are a full-service garage. Visit Merson Auto on St. Jacques, west of Cavendish in NDG, or go online, mersonauto.com.
I think it might be time for the tweet sheet.
You want to do another round?
Yes.
All right,
let's
go. Let's.
Hey, Poseidon, we got another tweet sheet?
Yep. We got I love this one from @Kip Conlon. What's that?
Go ahead.
Hey? Okay.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right.
I hate folksy expressions like a tomcat hates a swimming hole, I do declare. Not dirty, but pretty funny, I think.
Kip
It's
Conlon,
clever.
That sounds like a National Lampoon
I'm
name.
Kip Conlon. That's right. Yeah. I think we got a couple of Kip Conlons in this particular round. I like that one a lot. From Bone Chocolates. Knock, knock. Who's there? Can you move your car? Can you move your car? Who? Can you move your fucking car? I'm late for work.
Nice little riddle.
Yeah. Wanted to share with the kids. Here's another Kip Conlon. My toasts. Can I make them shorter? Can they have a point? Fascinating questions. I don't know the answers. To the bride and groom. I might do that at my daughter's wedding.
I was going to say, that's a great one to steal.
Yeah, I might steal that for Lauren's wedding this
really funny.
this September. To the bride and groom. Is that it, Poseidon, or is there one more?
No, that was it we had prepared. Do you want me to pull another one?
Oh, if you got one more, why
Okay,
not? Just for
why
fun.
not?
Yeah. I love the old tweet sheet, boy.
Kip Conlon, he could have been a disc jockey.
That's right, Kip Conlon. It's that. Kip Conlon proudly presents the history of rock and roll, chapter 972. Neil Young. Well, you came to the right person if you want to find out about Neil Young. He was
So we're just waiting.
mine, and lots of times we would eat beans. And he would hitch with me to gigs and hop on it later. That's an old Christopher Guest National Lampoon bit.
This looks really
Yeah, from @Tommy Tough Stuff. Imagine you come face to face with Bigfoot and the son of a bitch has a British accent. I say.
That's a good one.
Terry went into a deli on Papineau today to get lunch, and when he came back out to the car, I said, "Did they say, yo, stout yeoman?"
Yes.
I say,
Can I offer you some scones?
no, that's not what they said.
No, one of the things that I said to Ted in the car is, and we're not going to go on and on about this, but it's such a shame because I was in a very, very French, completely French neighborhood, in a place where everybody was French-Canadian. Puis moi, je parle français, mais je parle français comme un anglophone. C'est pas une catastrophe,
No.
comme Ted a dit, mais I can get by.
Yeah, you can order your lunch.
Yeah, I spoke French, and they smiled because they knew I was an English guy who was speaking French, and they couldn't have been sweeter, they could have been nicer, and everybody was getting along. So
that's the way it always is, except in the media and with politicians. They're the ones who stir the pot.
And the people that have been spending all of their time figuring out how to make sure that people can't go to English school and whatever else is in Bill 96, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's an industry.
Yeah.
It's an industry.
It has been for years.
Yeah.
Absolutely has been for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can no longer get married in English, apparently.
Well, did you hear about that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, this is a big deal, and apparently it's already having an effect.
But I think you can have the ceremony in English. I think they just won't issue the certificate in English, right?
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I...
Est-ce que vous prenez cette femme-là pour votre mariage? See, that would be me presiding over the marriage.
Yeah.
Oui, je le fais.
Did you take French lessons or something?
No.
Okay.
No, I just...
because it's come a long way from 1987.
Well, it's come a long way from Allure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, give me 3 months in Chicoutimi.
Yeah.
And I'll have French, and I'll have a French girlfriend.
My wife and I got our marriage license at London Drugs, and we were married in a place called Agassiz, British Columbia, and we now live in British Columbia. And it doesn't all have to do with politics, but politics helped.
Yeah, London Drugs in BC.
Yeah.
You got your marriage license there. How does that work?
Well, there was a counter there, and. Some things aren't tied up in craziness and red tape in other places. You learn that when you move around.
That's interesting.
Yeah, isn't it?
Heading to the drugstore. What do you need?
Yeah.
Well, I got get me some deodorant and a marriage license, would you?
And I remember I said to the women behind the counter, I said, "You're probably not going to believe this," and I'm sure because my wife is much younger than I am, and she said. I've seen it all before.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
I'm
sure she has.
To talk about it. Yeah. I've seen it all before. And I want to say before we go, I had a comment last week from somebody on the interweb about me wanting to, I can't stay away from the public eye and podcast and the little radio show we do on Saturday. I do it for fun.
Yeah.
Right?
And because you like doing it.
Yeah, I've said it before. When Ted and I sit across from each other, we have a nice time. People seem to enjoy it. That's the great thing about podcasts. You can listen or not listen or enjoy or don't enjoy. And the radio show is, and I don't want to sound like an arsehole, but it's an hour of time that Ted and I are able to use on a Thursday or a Friday. And it seems to have been received with open arms.
Yeah, we pre-record it or record it. My friend Java says about pre-record. He goes, "What does that mean? You record it before you record it?" Okay, sorry, Java. We record it, and then it plays Saturday morning from 9 to noon on Light 106.7, and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's good fun. Yeah, and we've attracted some advertisers, so obviously it's a viable project as well.
Yeah, and I'm a self-sufficient man. I have money. I managed to, much to my family's surprise, I actually managed to save some money for retirement. My wife is gainfully employed, and let's just say what we're doing for the podcast and the Saturday morning show. We're not paid a king's ransom for either one of them.
And I am one missed paycheck away from moving in with Poseidon. Which side of the bed do you like?
The right-hand side.
All right, so do I, so I'll just lie on top of you. Hey, speaking of advertisers, before we go, we have to say hello and thank you to Sean Smith and his team at Vozwin Engineering Consultants. If you have an invention or an idea or an existing product or service that you want to enhance and it has an engineering component, you take it to Sean and his team at Vozwin, and they'll know what to do with it. They do industrial, electrical, and mechanical engineering and design, as well as software development. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. And also, they'll tell you if you've got a stupid idea, because I told Sean my idea, and he said, yeah, that's stupid. And then no, he didn't say that.
No.
He just moved the conversation along.
Can I just tell you, one of the events this week, when I come to do the podcast, I come for a week. I book a hotel and I, stay like a visitor. And one of the highlights of the week was lunch with Sean.
Yeah.
I enjoyed meeting him. We had spoken on Zoom and we had email conversations, but sitting across from Sean and picking up his passion, his decency, he's got a remarkable concern for the greater good.
Yeah, he does.
It's so refreshing in this day and age to meet somebody like Sean.
Yeah,
so,
he's a bright and interesting guy. And
just-
when I told him about my idea, he didn't just ignore it. He kind of explained, why it
Why you
maybe
could use a
was
stick.
not. Yeah. Yeah, that. I'm telling you, though, I'm not giving up on that, Ter. It's all I got left. Check them out, Vozwin.com, for all of your engineering solutions. Thank you, Sean, for coming on board the podcast. He seems to be quite tickled to be a sponsor, too, to be,
we're thrilled to have him.
associated with us. We certainly are.
Thrilled to have him. And I want to say hi to Mike Ward, because apparently, and I don't think Mike was pulling our leg, he listens to all of the episodes.
Yeah, well, Mike was the one who said when you were retired,
yes,
he said there needs to be a Terry and Ted podcast, and Mike and Pantelis picked up that ball and ran with it, and now we've got Poseidon holding our hands and guiding us through this adventure, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we can't thank him enough. Mike's like the god. Mike and Pantelis are like our godparents in the podcast world. And Poseidon, while you're there, let's plug the podcasts that come out of this amazing factory.
Theirs and yours as well.
Yes, all right. So, where to start? We have the Pantelis podcast and Frenchcast, which are the official podcasts of this studio. We have Pantelis Live. We have Club Zeus, which is a Patreon exclusive, but we haven't done one in a while. We've been a little bit busy. We have obviously Standing By. We have the Intellectuals. We have the Morning Show, and we have In Bed with Poseidon, which is exclusive to Patreon for about a week and a half to 2 weeks first, and then it's released publicly to everyone. So those are all the shows for the moment. And there are some renters on the French side. We have Thomas Levac that does his shows from here. He did a total of 3 shows. He had the Thomas Levac show, the Couple Ouvert, and the Deux Princes show that was recorded out of here. We had a few other people as well, and we have more people coming up.
So it's a busy spot.
It's like the 30 Rock of the podcast
you
world.
can on YouTube you can find them all at Pantelis Comedy. Is that right?
Not all of them at Pantelis Comedy, but
a bunch of them.
Most of what I named, yes.
Yeah.
We have, like I said, a few other ones as well that they rent. If you search Thomas Levac, you'll find his. Pébé Rivard also did some here. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone at the moment, but
I strongly recommend 2 Drink Minimum with Mike and Pantelis and Poseidon.
Yes, 2 Drink Minimum is recorded now out of the
Bordel
at the Bordel. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
down on Ontario Street East. Well, Terry, you're bleeding. I'm going to take you to the hospital. And
I've obviously scratched something on my arm and it's bleeding, and I was trying to hide it from Ted because he could pass out.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, we better say goodbye before I do pass out.
One more thing just before we go. Apparently this is a thing. Share the podcast with your friends.
Would you please? Yeah. We'd be so grateful.
Yeah, tell people.
Tell your mom, your dad, your aunts.
Yes.
Or I'll be under your bed.
Okay. And thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate that. And a big thank you to our sponsors. I need a Band-Aid, Ted.
Okay, I'm going to take you away.
Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast, is sponsored by Jaguar Land Rover Laval, where the luxury is unmistakably British, but nobody wears a top hat or a monocle.